So don't forget, there is a quiz tomorrow. You're going to have uh, all of the things that you see here um, memorized for the quiz. It's going to be pretty much this exact paper, except down at the bottom, I will give you some bonus if you know already how to use it, okay? But that's something we're going to focus on today more and next week, okay? So remember, you need to know not only the degrees, the radians, and the point at every location. You're also going to need to know that the x is your cosine, the y is your sine, and that your tangent is sine over cosine or y over x. If you give me both of those, you'll get a little bonus point for doing that. Okay, so make sure you know your unit circle. That is what is on the quiz on Friday. Okay. That being said, today we are going to practice using the unit circle. So if you have your paper copy, it might be a good idea to get that out now. On the back table, there are some extra blank copies if you want to use a paper copy to study, but there was also a picture up above too. Okay, so I'm going to do the odds with you. You'll have the remainder of class to finish up the evens. And there you go, okay? So we're going to use the unit circle to find the values that we see here. So for 9, although it's a little strange, they are saying find the cosine of 270 when our theta is 270. So that's kind of what they're doing for that one. Now, what we need to know if we are looking at 270 is that the point on the unit circle for 270 is 0, -1. And if we know that, then we know that our x is the cosine value. So the answer to this is 0. So that's all they're looking for number 9, which is the same thing as number 11. So I don't need you to do anything extra there. It would just be 0. So I don't know why they did that. Did they do that on the other one? No, okay. I don't know why they did that, but might just been the way that yeah. Anyway, so let me show you what I'm looking for 13 on down, okay? So for 13, it says the cotangent of 7 pi over 4. So what I want you to do is I want you to make a little XY axis. I want you to make a little drawing about where 7 pi over 4 lives. And I want you to label the point. So that is the point square root of 2 over 2, negative square root of 2 over 2. Okay. So for every one of these, I want a very rough little sketches to where did you land and what is the point at that particular location. So 7 pi over 4 is the point, square root of 2 over 2, negative square root of 2 over 2. So remember, cotangent is the flip of the tangent. So instead of sine over cosine or y over x, it's going to be cosine over sine or x over y. So we're just going to take the x value of square root of 2 over 2 and divide it by the y value, negative square root of 2 over 2. If you did big C over little c or just did a little logic, anything divided by itself is always 1. So in this case, the answer would be -1. So that's what I'm looking for these. And we're going to keep going. We're going to keep doing a few together. So the answer to 13 is -1. So I want you to draw a little picture for any of the weird ones like cosecants or secants or cotangents. Please make sure that you're showing me the math that you did to get there. Now, obviously this, you might be able to do that in your head, but let's talk about 15. Now, 225 is between 180 and 270. It's the 45 right here. So make me a little picture. The point there is the same thing, but both of them are negative. So it's negative square root of 2 over 2, negative square root of 2 over 2. Okay. So the cosecant is the reciprocal of the sine. So it's the reciprocal of the y value. So the first thing we're going to do for 15 is we're going to take that and we're going to flip it upside down. We're going to take the reciprocal of it. So we're going to get 2 over negative radical 2. Now I want all fractions to be in reduced rationalized form when necessary. So you have to then multiply top and bottom by radical 2. So we get 2 radical 2. Let's put the negative on the top, over 2. Now, in this particular case, we have a 2 happening in both top and bottom. And so our final answer is negative radical 2. So that is the answer to 15 on the 7-4 homework. Do we have any questions about 15? Let's keep going. Let's do number 19. First, we're going to draw a little picture about 90 degrees. And we're going to label that the point is 0, 1. So first, pull out the point, 90 degrees, draw a little picture depicting what 90 is doing. Next, after we've drawn the picture, we got to remember what cosecant is. Cosecant is the reciprocal of the sine. So we got to flip that sine over. So the sine value is the y value. So that's 1 over 1 or 1. So the answer to 17. Now remember, when you flip 1 or negative 1, you're going to get 1 or negative 1. When you flip 0, you get undefined. When you flip undefined, you usually end up getting 0, which is kind of weird, but you know, okay. Everybody good with number 17? Let's do 19. Pi over 4 is the same as 45 degrees. Let's draw a picture. 45 degrees, or pi over 4, has the point square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. The sine value is the y value. The answer is square root of 2 over 2. No simplification necessary. Okay. So there's 19. Do we have any questions about 19? Let's do 21. Now, pi over 6, should it tell us that it is related to 30? And this is negative 13 times 30, or negative 390. 13 times 30 is negative 390. That is nothing good to help me. So what you can do, I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do it. If you add 360, you still are negative. So to find the coterminal landing spot, just add 360 one more time until you finally get positive, and that would be 330. So negative 390 lands me in the 330 spot. Now let me show you why. So 330 is down here. Okay. If I go negative 13 pi over 6's, negative 12 of them takes me to here. Negative 1 more takes me to there. So that would be 13 if I counted them all the way around backwards. Okay. So if I counted 30s backwards, 12 pi over 6 is 2 pi. So it gets me here. So 12 pi over 6's gets me all the way around. Anytime this is double that, it gets me back around. And then the last extra one is why I get to here. No matter how you slice it, find where you land, and that's what I want you to draw. I land at 330. The point at 330 is square root of 3 over 2, negative 1/2. It's related to that 30, square root of 3 over 2, 1/2, but the negative is indicating on the y value that we're going downward. Okay. Now that you find the point and you have found its location, however you did it, whether you did it in radians or degrees, don't care, find a way to do it. Get that location. Once you found that location, tangent is y over x. So we're going to do the y value negative 1/2 over the x value square root of 3 over 2. Now this is a really good candidate for big C over little c. So that's what I'm going to do for this problem. Okay. Now let's really look at how do we do big C over little c for this problem. The outer two, the big that make the big C, if you connect the big C, multiply and go on top. And I'm just going to list it as a multiplication because usually some simplification is going to occur. The inner C, the little c, connects the middle two, and those two go on the bottom. That's going to be 2 times radical 3. When the 2's are in a location like that, they do end up canceling. So we get negative 1 over radical 3. When rationalized, that's negative radical 3 over 3. That's my final answer. Tangents of 30, anything related to 30 will always be some version of radical 3 over 3. Tangents of 60 are always radical 3 alone. So 30s are always going to get you an answer of radical 3 over 3 every time. And it doesn't matter which of the 30s, because that reference angle will always be using the same values, but sometimes positive and sometimes negative. Do we have any questions about 21? Okay, so you should be drawing the picture and you should be then doing the calculation. Let's go cosine of 990. Now looking at that, I say that's too big. I've been rotating around the circle lots of times. 360 rotates around the circle. So take off at 360 because it doesn't matter because I've looped back around and I'm starting over. If I loop back around, I get 630. So I still have too many loops around. So let's take off a 360 again. If I take off a 360 again, do I get 270? Does that look right? Okay, thank you. I wanted to verify before I. So when I draw what 990 is or where it lands me, I'm really just drawing the 270 point. So that is the point 0, negative 1. So that's the game changer. You have to just know where did I land, and that's the point I use. So where did I land? Use that point. So 0, negative 1 is where I land. That's the point I'm going to use. The cosine is the x value. The answer is 0. The unit circle allows us to find the sine, cosine, tangent, and all the reciprocals very nicely and quickly. And you have to have it memorized, and we will be using it for the rest of the year. So that's why I'm going to, make you memorize it because we need it. It just is a part of trigonometry that we have to have memorized. So on the quiz on Friday, you cannot use a calculator in any way because you have to know how to do all the calculations yourself. Okay. Now we're ready to move on to 25. Negative 5 pi over 6. Well, that's related to 30. Remember, pi over 6. We're going backwards. Pi over 6 is related to 30, so 5 30s, we're going backwards 150. So I do tend to do my mathematics in degree mode because my brain remembers degrees, uses degrees a little nicer. If you go to negative 150, you're really going backwards 150. You do end up right there. To prove that to you, you can always add 360 to a negative value and get you where you want. That is 210. So however you slice it, we do end up at the 210 mark because that's equivalent to negative 150. It doesn't matter how you do that. That's what negative 5 pi over 6 is really. Pi over 6, remember, is your 30. The point there is negative square root of 3 over 2, negative 1/2. They're both negative in that quadrant. That 30 relationship always uses square root of 3 over 2, 1/2. The cosecant means that we have to flip the sign. So just take your fraction you see in the y spot and flip it upside down. So that's negative 2 over 1 or negative 2 is our answer. The cosecant of negative 150 or negative 5 pi over 6 is negative 2. Do we have any questions about 25? Okay. Sine of 29 pi over 6, that pi over 6 that we see right here tells us we're somehow related to 30, but we have 29 30s. That's a lot of 30s. 12 30s, 12 times 30 is 360. 12 30s gets us all the way around. So let's do some radian work here, and then I'll show you in degrees as well. If you take off the double of the bottom, so for 6s, take off 12 of them, that's a loop around. That's 360 degrees. So that would give us now 17 pi over 6s. We still have a loop in there, right? That 12 pi over 6 is another loop, so we can take off a 12 pi over 6 again. We land in the 5 pi over 6 spot. So this is the same as the sine of 5 pi over 6. Every 12 pi over 6s gets you one loop around. Every 6 pi over 3s gets you a loop around. Every 8 pi over 4s, anytime it's a double, every 4 pi over 2s, every 2 pi's gets you all the way around, okay? Okay, so now that we know where we've landed, let's draw our picture. 5 pi over 6 is 150. It lands us here. So we're going to use the point negative square root of 3 over 2, positive 1/2. So hopefully you notice that pi over 6 always uses square root of 3 over 2 1/2. Your job is just which quadrant did I land in. Now, if we did degrees, 29 30s is 870. Take off 360, we get 510. Take off 360 again, we do get the 150 mark, which is exactly what we thought. So feel free at any time to do your work in degrees, and then work your way backwards if you need to, okay? Okay, but anyway, 5 pi over 6. The sine is our y value at that location. Since our y is still going up in the second quadrant, it is a positive 1/2 as our answer. Positive 1/2 is our answer. Everybody okay with problem 27? Okay. Last one I'm going to do with you, and then your job is to work on the other side by yourself, is problem 29. Now, at pi over 2, you want to keep in your brain, this is related to 90. I'm going backwards 11 90s. So this is technically a negative 990 if you wanted to flip that to degrees. Every pi over 2 is 90. So if we wanted to just go backwards and count 11 of them, it's not hard to do. That's a pi over 2, 90. How many 90s? We're going backwards 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's the same as landing at the pi over 2 spot. Let me show you one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. However you count it, we land at the pi over 2 spot. Once you know where you land, we use the point at that location. Now, we could use the trick if you add 360 until you become positive. We would have to just add it a few times, I think 3 times total. And then the last time it does show you we do get to 90 degrees. So you can do that. You can also add 4 pi over 2 3 times, which is 12 pi over 2, which gets you 1 pi over 2. So however you want to do it, okay? Where do you land? That's the key. However you decide to do it, whether it's degrees or radians, or you actually just draw it out like I just did. So the cosine is the x value at that location. The answer is 0. Okay. Okay. So tomorrow is your unit circle quiz. Your job right now is to do these ones. Get it turned in by the time I see you tomorrow. Quiz is tomorrow. On the quiz, you don't have to use colors like the red, blue, yellow, green if you don't want to, but you have that option. I will have those available. No calculators on the quiz. Okay? So finish this up. Please note interms are going in. So I did them yesterday. So if you turn in some things in, I can't guarantee that what you turn in will be on your interim, but I'll try if you turn some things in late. Okay, so there you go.